I have a drawing that I took a picture of, brought into Photoshop. I increased the contrast, and now what I would like to do is I would like to make selections for each part of this bird and put the different selections on different layers. To do so, I'm going to use the Quick Mask mode. The Quick Mask mode is down here in the lower corner. It's a square with a little circle inside. I'm going to double click. I want to make sure that the Quick Mask mode has selected areas. So what I'll do when I have this Quick Mask mode selected is I will color in this head of this bird, and even though I have black and white, it's coloring red when I have Quick Mask mode selected, and that's because this is when I deselect it. Can you see that it's marching ants here? This will allow me to copy and paste this bird onto a new layer. I am going to double click and add a background layer on here. So there's something underneath this layer. My marching ants are still there. I'm going to go to layer 0. I'm going to go copy and paste, Command C and Command V. And now you can see I have the head right here. I can also go to layer 0 again, and I'm going to use my Quick Mask mode on layer 0. And in this case, I'm going to highlight this wing. Obviously, I would want to spend a lot of time on this, and I'm just doing it quickly because I actually have a file prepared underneath here. Again, I just wanted to show you Quick Mask mode. I clicked on it. It's the ruby lith. When I click on it again, I now have a selection. And again, I can use Command C and Command V, copy and paste, and it puts that selection on another layer. Now I actually have this set up here where I have my head on one layer, my body on another layer, the wings on another layer. The only thing I need to do is I need to name them just for my own sanity. So head, body, and I'll call this wing 1, and I'll call this wing 2. Oops, excuse me, that was inadvertent. And left leg and right leg. All right, so here we are looking at a new composition. I went to After Effects, new file, new project, and then I created a new composition. I gave it a name, size, background color. Just remember the compositions in After Effects, you have to put the duration in ahead of time. Okay, I'm not going to add, I do want to make a change to the composition that I have right now. So composition settings. This is a 7-minute long composition, and I definitely don't want that. 15 seconds is great for this project. Great. Next, what I'm going to do is File, Import File, and I'm going to import my bird Photoshop file. Unfortunately, my computer's having scratch disk issues, so I was unable to resize that in Photoshop, but I can resize it in After Effects. When I do file import, I get a couple of options. Do I want to import it as footage, composition, or composition retain layer sizes? I'm not going to use footage because that would compress all the layers. I'm going to import it as a composition. I'll hit OK. And here is my bird. I'm going to actually, I double clicked on the bird over here in my window. This is my bird main, which is my main composition I'll animate in. For this bird composition, I'm just going to copy and paste these layers into my main composition. You can see it's way too big, and again, that's because I was unable to resize it into Photoshop because so many problems. I am resizing it by I click on this lower right hand corner, and then I hold down the Shift key, and it lets me resize these in a proportional way. Great. So I have my head, my body, my wings, etc. I'm going to place each one of these in the final position, right? So my head will go there. The body's going to stay in the same place. My first wing is, oh, you know what? I want this wing to be on top of my body. So I'm going to click and drag it. And now I can pull that wing over there. And I'm going to go to wing 2. And I'm going to drag that to the other side. And then I need a left leg and a right leg. Let me get that left leg again. One thing is my legs might cross over this second wing, so I'm actually going to pull wing 2 underneath right and left leg. There's nothing on the layer 1, so I'm going to go ahead and just hit delete on my keyboard and delete that. Great. Now if I wanted to animate my head, for example, if I wanted to nod the head, look what happens. I go to animate it, but it's animating in such a terrible way. That's because this little center point here, do you see that for my head? This little center point, it's the center of the head object, is here, and the head wants to rotate around that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to this menu bar and click on the pan behind tool. And I'm going to drag this pan behind tool right here as if it were at the bird's neck. Now I'm going to go to rotate it. Oh, that makes a lot more sense. Much better. Great. I'm going to do the same thing for the other parts of this bird. I'm going to do wing 1, again, pan behind tool. I'm going to rotate that from that axis. The bird's body, I'm going to rotate from the center. The left leg of the bird needs this center rotation here. The right leg needs this to be dragged over here. And then the wing 2, I can't really see it, but I know where the top of that wing should be, so I'm just going to drag this over to here. Great. Now, when I go to wing 1, and before I've been hitting this arrow and twirling it down, and then twirling down the transform to find rotation, I can actually just highlight my layer and hit R, and it will bring up rotation, so that it can just show you, yeah, that wing's rotating how I want it to. Okay, so great. What I'd like to do is I'm going to have the bird nod its head, fluff its wings, and then take a couple steps. So with the head, what I'm going to do, again, is I'm just going to hit the R key, the rotation key, and I'm going to click on the stopwatch on the left-hand side here. The stopwatch turns on the keyframes, and any change I make to the value of rotation will create a new keyframe in my timeline. Okay, I'm going to go out here a little bit more, and maybe I'll have the bird tweet. Now the one thing is, here's this keyframe. If I make a new keyframe with new values, there's going to be a slow, long drift. So actually what I want to do is hit this add a keyframe here, so the keyframe will have the same content as the keyframe before it. And now I can rotate the head up and quickly move it down. The deal is the closer the frames are to each other, the quicker the action will happen. The greater the distance between the frames, the slower the animation. All right, so there's that. I'm going to hit playback so I can see what that looks like. That's what I want. I kind of want this quick movement of the bird's head. I'm now going to go to the wing, and I'd like it to sort of fluff its wings at this point. Again, I'm going to turn on the rotation key. I'm going to go out here, and I'm going to rotate the wing up, and then down a little bit, and then up in a bigger way, and then down a little bit, and then up here is maybe my final spot. I need to do the same thing with my other wing, so I think I'm going to do that right now. I'll hit R for rotation. I'm going to start it around the same time I started this other. Again, I click on rotation. This one goes up, so the first wing goes up, so I'm going to have my second wing go up a little bit. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. And the little fluff here, a little fluffer. And then go all the way up. A little more. And then down to like a good stopping point. There we go. Great. Now I'm going to have my bird take a couple steps. One of the things I need to do is figure out ahead of time how I want the movement to work for the legs. A bird doesn't take a normal walking cycle, right? It kind of does these little steps, these little hops. I'm going to do some kind of awkward hop with this. I'll turn on the rotation. Actually, I'm going to start with the right leg. I'll turn on rotation, and I'm going to have the right leg swing out a little bit. Boop. And then right after that, I'm going to turn on the rotation of my left leg and have it follow suit with a swing out. And then we'll go back and we'll have this, I'm going to repeat that same keyframe, then have it swing out a little bit more. This little step. Same deal here, and the leg up here. I'm going to click on that, give myself an identical keyframe, then move out and swing this out. So what does that look like? Tweet, tweet.